It's been a very long time since I have updated you guys on XDC. Obviously, if you guys did watch some of my recent videos, then you would know that yes, I was on a little bit of a break because YouTube did ban me for a week. They gave me a strike. It's been happening to a lot of crypto content creators lately. Hopefully, it is just an issue on their AI side of things, but we'll see what happens. But the main thing that I'm focused on here is that listen, XDC has been making a ton of great moves recently. Some acquisitions, some major ecosystem expansions as well. So very excited about that. We are going to lock in on a few things here, and then we are going to get into the most important thing to focus on when it comes back to XDC. And it's something that obviously we have been talking about for years, which is, of course, trade finance. Because their recent move around trade finance is a big one. And I do think that if you hold XDC, it's something that you should be aware of, number one, but you should also understand the significance of this move that they made. So let's start off with some of the recent updates that we got from XDC. Some of these might be a little bit dated just because, again, it's been a while since I have been able to really update you guys on some of these projects, but XDC did partner up with DAO Maker. This is a leading launchpad and growth platform empowering blockchain innovation. Through this collaboration, DAO Maker has integrated the XDC blockchain into its ecosystem, unlocking new opportunities for builders and investors alike. This partnership will enable XDC native projects to raise funds directly through the DAO Maker launchpad, expanding access to global capital and community-driven growth. Together, we are accelerating the next wave of real-world adoption and innovation on the XDC network. I'm very excited about this because, this is just one of many of those expansions that XDC did announce so far this year. One big thing that I have been really putting a spotlight on when it comes back to any of these big projects like XDC or even Hedera, XRP, etc., is that, 2025, behind the negative price action, because again, most of these projects really haven't done much this year in terms of PA, but a lot of the moves that they have been making this year are pretty significant for the ecosystem long term. And I do love the fact that when it comes back to XDC, a lot of these accelerators, these big expansions around the community and even the ecosystem, that's what they have been really fully embracing. That's what they've been focused on. That's very important because, again, it goes back to like the bear market, where I said that in the bear market, one of the biggest things is community events. Why? Why is community events very important to focus on during the bear market? Because, again, it's a constant reminder of what these projects are doing, how they're doing it, and where they are focused on. During the bear market in those events, what we were told is, guess what? We're focused on this. We want to expand. We want to, build out this. Crypto's here to stay. Big players are still in conversation with us. And it wasn't just XDC. Like I said, it's so many other projects as well. But that's why I focus on these expansions, because these expansions are good for the long term, because these expansions are starting to accelerate community engagement, community growth, which is also very good for the long-term network health. Now, on top of that, we did get another update from Enigma Securities, and this is institutions can now trade XDC with Enigma. The XDC network brings together the power of public blockchain transparency, and this is with speed and security enterprises need. Designed as a layer 1 EVM-compatible network, it enables real-world asset tokenization, efficient trade finance, and seamless cross-border value movement. Its delegated proof-of-stake consensus delivers near instant settlement, low transaction cost, and smart contract functionality, creating a trusted foundation for the future of global finance. This information does not constitute an offer or solicitation and may not be available in all jurisdictions. But again, this is a big move around just exposure to XDC to institutional players. Because on top of the ecosystem expansion and the accelerator programs that they've been announcing as well, we have been witnessing major adoption around the institutional side. institutions have been embracing the tech all year long. And when it comes back to XDC, they have been, trying to build out and really getting exposed more to institutions. So I'm very excited about this. I think that this is great. And then also on top of that, October. Let's put a spotlight on October because Generation Infinity put out a great post behind, what XDC was doing in October. That first one is the one that we are going to be locked in on here in a second. So right off the rip, Contour acquisition. So for those that don't know about Contour, you really just had to be there. For the last roughly 4 years, we have been talking about trade finance when it comes back to XDC because it's been like the biggest thing that XDC has been focused on. Contour has been a name circulating around the trade finance space for quite some time. They were one of the biggest players. They were being adopted in a big way, and everyone thought that at one point in time that Contour was actually going to be an XDC killer. Well, now XDC is acquiring Contour. Again, we will get into, the deeper side of this, but I want to go over the other few things here as well. $10 million surge liquidity program, native USDC and Circle's CCTP, token terminal analytics, 21 shares XDC ETP EU, and then XDC is now available on ITrustCapital as well through their IRA platform. So again, very, very big moves coming from XDC in just October alone. Let's break down the Contour acquisition. So here we have the first official update from Contour. So Contour Network, a Singapore-based digital trade finance platform that digitizes letters of credit and cross-border documentation, has been acquired by XDC Ventures. We have from XDC Foundation that XDC Network has acquired Contour Network to accelerate its trade finance ambitions by integrating stablecoins and tokenization for banks and corporates. The acquisition will revitalize Contour's platform with new capital strategy and a focus on real-world asset tokenization and settlement rails. I'm very excited about this. Now, if we're going into the full announcement of the acquisition, here we have it. So they acquire SG Trade Finance Platform, Contour. Here we have XDC Ventures, the investment arm of XDC Network and headquartered in Dubai, has acquired Contour Network, a Singapore-based digital trade finance platform that digitizes letters of credit and cross-border documentation. Contour was previously backed by global banks including HSBC, Standard Chartered, BNP Paribas, Citi, DBS, ING, Bangkok Bank, and CTBC Bank. XDC Ventures plans to restructure Contour's strategy, including launching a stablecoin lab to develop pilots with banks and corporates for regulated stablecoin issuance and settlement. I'm very excited about this. It's at a time where stablecoins are the biggest thing in the room, so I'm very excited about this. The company aims to use Contour's infrastructure to optimize treasury returns and develop APIs for stablecoin-based letter of credit settlement. Contour will integrate the XDC network as its settlement and tokenization layer with support for Circle's USDC stablecoin to enable faster, lower-cost cross-border transactions. Immediate plans include launching pilots, expanding partnerships, and working with regulators in the US, the EU, the GCC, and also Asia. I'm very excited about this because, like I said, Contour has been a massive name in the trade finance space for so long. We're starting to see, this really focused on around stablecoin initiatives with banks and corporates, but also even tokenization initiatives as well, all around the XDC network. Now, when it comes back to Contour, here we have the Contour Network, the trusted network for global trade. Experience the world's leading trade finance network. This is a full breakdown of exactly what Contour does. It enhances the entire digital trade journey by streamlining complex trade finance processes. So this is right up XDC's alley. Now, Contour and XDC have always been on sort of the same side, if you will. And also when it comes back to, Contour being a part of all of the major initiatives that XDC has been a part of, like TFDI, they've always been a name on those lists. But now we could see here that they already changed a few things, okay? So Contour delivers digitized trade finance solutions that simplify letters of credit and documentation through blockchain transparency and real-time processing with a smart settlement layer powered by tokenization and stablecoins. Contour enables instant, trusted cross-border trade transactions. Here we have the letter of credit, And then we also have the Stablecoin Lab. And this is all with, of course, XDC. I'm very excited about this because, again, all of those processes that are extremely, problematic in trade finance because of paper-based processes or just like the traditional tech stack, that's all being revolutionized by, projects like XDC. And this acquisition is a huge step for them. We also have down here, how can Contour help? For corporates, for banks, for partners. This is all based around digitizing key trade finance activities. Everything that we have gone over in the last couple years when it comes back to XDC, we are seeing highlighted here. Every single step of the way is to drive paperless trade finance. Get rid of paper-based processes. Get rid of all the processes that are a major issue that plague the entire life cycle around trade finance. This is all based around digitization. And here we have powering the next phase of digital trade finance. Instant letter of credit settlements using regulated stablecoins on the XDC network. Faster, lower cost cross-border payments backed by Circle's USDC. Treasury optimization and improved working capital efficiency. Compliance-ready frameworks aligned with initiatives like the Genius Act. So they are already thinking ahead and making sure that they are fully compliant, but also making sure that they have everything in place, from cross-border payments being, faster and lower cost because of stablecoins, also instant, letter of credit settlements as well using stablecoins on the XDC network. I just think that this is very exciting. And again, looking at all of the players that are tied back to Contour, we have the MUFG, ICBC, Bank of China, ABSA, which was also, by the way, ABSA just recently partnered up with Ripple, Bangkok Bank, Permata Bank, DBS Singapore, and trusted corporates such as Tata Steel, Tata International, United Tractors. All of these players rely on Contour Network for secure trade document digitalization and settlements. So again, this is a very, very big announcement for XDC. It's a huge acquisition, and I'm very excited about it. And by the way, for all of those services, you guys can see all of the services and things like that they offer just right on the homepage. But I would suspect that this is still starting to get, just changed over real quick while they are in this acquisition phase. But beyond that, remember all of the connections that Contour does have, right? It's not just those big banks. Obviously, yes, Citi was connected back to Contour back in 2023. Citi India completed their first blockchain-enabled letter of credit transaction on Contour. Again, just highlighting that, Contour was a big player here whenever it came back to, trade finance digitalization. But beyond that, Finastra was also connected back to Contour back in October of 2022. They connected, offering an enhanced digital trade finance network. Again, here we just have the breakdown of it. I don't think that this is really that important to read over at this moment, simply because, again, a lot of things have changed. But I will say this, when it comes back to trade finance and, some of the biggest players being connected, Finastra is definitely a big one, especially considering the fact that Finastra does have over 8,000 customers worldwide. 45 of the top 50 banks are tied back to them. We could see some of the numbers here as well. 90% support from the world's top banks. They, they're moving $7 trillion in transactions every single day. So Contour is tied back to Finastra, which could definitely be exposed with XDC. I mean, I really do think that a lot of these acquisitions, we still need to take a lot of the names that are tied back to some of these companies, with a grain of salt, because obviously a lot of these players probably won't say, all right, well, with the new acquisition, with, this company being bought out, are we still going to utilize their solutions? Some of them might switch up. Some of them will stay. We saw this even with Medico when Ripple acquired them. So I still think that a lot of these big players will be tied back to it, but this is definitely a big one. It's a huge one. And I still don't think people realize what XDC is focused on. If you're still confused, trade finance. Trade finance is the biggest thing still to XDC, and it's for a good reason. Trade finance has been untouched for decades. It's a market, it's an industry that is ripe for disruption. So I'm very excited about this. I think that this move is definitely strategic in a way. And, it does allow them to acquire a name that's been set up for years and years and years, has a ton of, names tied back to it. And the infrastructure that they're getting here as well is, very significant too. So I'm very excited about this. And with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because I'm more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.